Give me a moment.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural?
As you approach the metal grill, you can hear several voices having what appears to be an animated discussion. This must be it. Beyond this door lies the beating heart of radical communism in Martinaise. Somehow, the night air softens the smell of trash and sea brine. As the breeze pulls through the canvas like a shuttle through a loom, you catch a hint of something unexpected. The acrid smell of failure. No, that's just slightly burnt coffee. A smell you would recognize anywhere.
Just look at this pig, sniffing about after hours. Must have slipped my mind. You know how it goes.
The metal grill is cool to the touch. You can make out at least two voices, both male, approximately early 20s.
Careful with those now. I have it. It's going to work. I can feel it.
The clang of metal reverberates all along the scaffolding. The voices coming from the other side fall silent. A pair of frightened hares cowering in some dark crevice of their burrow.
Who's there? Is that you, Maurice? Come crawling back already. Get out of here, traitor.
For a moment, silence.
What's the passphrase?
There's no response. You begin to wonder whether they've slipped out some back way. No, they're still there. You can feel them back there.
Alright. The key's taped to the back of the door frame. Just make sure you put it back when you're done, or we'll all be locked out. And do watch the concrete. It just kind of falls away.
Have fun at your underground meeting, pig. Hope it's a blast.
The two young men are either oblivious to or ignoring your entrance. They attend matchboxes, it appears.
I think it's holding, Alexis.
It is. It's holding.
It's definitely not holding. Those matchboxes are stacked so haphazardly, it's like they want...
Careful, careful. Damn, hardly any difference. You're late.
He should know the meeting starts at 10 p.m. sharp.
One leader and one follower. The most ancient power dynamic. There's a great deal of tension in this young man's shoulders, more than someone his age should bear. Meanwhile, his companion inclines toward him, eager to catch every word that dribbles from his friend's mouth.
Are you saying you haven't done the reading for tonight?
Uh-oh. No one said anything about reading. You'll just have to wing this one.
You have? Excellent. Let's hear your critique then. They always say that when they haven't done the reading. Well, this is getting awkward. I'm not sure what you're expecting to find here then.
There's profound consternation in his voice. You suspect it's about something bigger than your not having done the reading.
Maybe he can explain himself.
In the most generous sense, I would say we're cultivating revolutionary consciousness.
Yes, that's probably the best way to describe it.
But more specifically, we are running a reading group. The most rigorous and theoretically advanced materialist reading group in Martinaise.
Comrade Steban is a great discussion leader, one of the best at the university.
It's obvious they take this group of theirs extremely seriously. Whatever you do, don't compare it to a common book club. Yawn. Can you imagine anything duller than a bunch of Beano-clads yanking each other's knobs?
That's our whole thing. The world is so shallow, all noise and repetition. We're interested in genuinely radical critique.
Precisely. We are not interested in senseless parroting. We like to read critically.
Within the contours of Mazovian historical materialism, of course.
Huh. As though you can call that problem teaching.
One thing you learn quickly at university is that you're not going to find a real education in any lecture hall or discussion seminar.
We are post-attendance, basically.
Exactly. The only worthwhile part of the so-called École Normale des Recherches is the library. That's where we've made our greatest critical strides. We study all the foundational texts of Mazovian theory, of course. Just last week we finished the second volume of Puncher and Watman's Innocence of Capital.
Truly extraordinary.
And before that we spent 6 weeks on State and Plasm.
Uh-oh. You can feel your attention span rapidly deteriorating.
We've also read Wertmüller's The Megastructure of History, and before that, Real and Reality.
Arblar's Une paix infernale.
The original Fisdale translation, not that watered-down revisionist garbage.
Obviously.
But, of course, our special emphasis is on the theories of Ignace Nilsson and his followers, especially the inframaterialists. Only Krasmazov's most trusted lieutenant, the evangelist of the revolution, and the founding father of the People's Republic of Samara.
It's hard to overstate how unimpressed he is that you've never heard of this world historical individual.
He also happens to be the greatest communist theorist after Mazov himself. It was Nilsson who first postulated the existence of ideological plasm, which forms the basis of inframaterialist theory.
The young man sighs. His companion looks about furtively.
In the most generous sense, I would say we're cultivating revolutionary consciousness.
Yes, that's probably the best way to describe it.
But more specifically, we are running a reading group. The most
It's yawn.
That's within the contours of Mazovian historic. Go ahead. Clinching? No. We're not an operational cell.
We think of ourselves as more of an intellectual vanguard.
Our stance? What? Do you want to know if the SRV has established a party line on the lynchings in Martinaise?
Though historically speaking, the SRV has supported direct action against right-wing paramilitary squads, especially when they are doing the Indo-tribe's dirty work.
Good point. So as a provisional matter, I can say we support it.
Are they being sarcastic? You feel like you're caught in some elaborate joke labyrinth, but it's impossible to see your way through. It's always that way. Beneath the crust of irony, there's a molten sincerity that threatens to erupt forth. You may witness it yet.
No, we're an independent organization. We acknowledge and respect the union's efforts, but our interests are more theoretical than Mr. Clare's. That's easy. Crime is simply the inevitable expression of the injustice and incoherence embedded within capitalism itself. It's a symptom, in other words, not a cause.
His companion can barely suppress a yawn.
Our stance? What? Does he want to know if the SRV has established a party line on the lynchings in Martinez?
Though historically speaking, the SRV has supported direct action against right-wing paramilitary squads, especially when they are doing the Indo-tribe's dirty work.
Good point. So as a provisional matter, I can say we support it.
Are they being sarcastic? It's always that way.
No, unfortunately. The communards were hunted down and killed nearly to a man. All that's left of them are bones and old rifles.
His companion's eyes widen as you hold up the ancient weapon. He's practically itching to stick that thing in someone's face and pull the trigger.
Yes, like that one. I wonder how many of these are still lying around in cellars or sealed up behind the masonry. Can I hold it? It's heavier than I was expecting.
Though what, exactly, you can't say. He turns the rifle over again, admiring the glint of light off the oily barrel. When he's finished, he returns the rifle to you with a nod of appreciation.
We think of ourselves as more.
No, unfortunately. The communard not exactly the second incarnation of Krasmazov, is he? What's it for? Ah, I see. That's certainly kind of you. What do you mean? This is the reading group. We're in something of a rebuilding phase.
Some of our former comrades didn't have the ideological fortitude our work demands.
Intellectual attrition is maybe the best way to describe it. Felix said he couldn't keep up with the reading on top of his classwork. And Susanna wanted to read text other than Mazovian theory. Like novels, if you can believe it. We've tried recruiting new members, but unfortunately the current intellectual climate is pretty hostile to inframaterialist thought. These days, if you're on the left, the ascendant schools are the Gottwaldians and their iconoclasts.
Don't forget about Maurice and the turnips.
Right. Then there was the whole turnip debacle.
Whatever this turnip business is about, one thing is perfectly clear. These young students have a much deeper understanding of communism than you could learn a thing or two from them. If you can convince them, you're one of them.
They're the most depressing.
Again.
It's okay for Uli to say that because his dad is from the Godwall.
In other words,
That's why they spend all their time smoking cigarettes and writing long works of criticism that make you want to commit suicide. It is miserable. That's You see, the Gottwald school look like communists. For starters, they love talking about. They're by far the most bean-centric.
ah yes, the much maligned bean counters, ensconced in their think tanks and high-rises, believing they can save the world through a series of incremental, assiduously technocratic.
Oh, please. There's nothing moderate about their love for counting beans. If I were You see, iconoclasts claim to be communists, but in reality they're just liberals with hard-ons for spreadsheets. Of course not. The only people who actually call themselves liberals are mouth-foaming reactionaries.
Basically indistinguishable from fascists. You'd need an X-ray machine to test.
Cindy is...
Something of an ideological auxiliary.
Yes. That's exactly how I would...
But she refuses to submit an essay, so we can.
That doesn't stop her from using the room for studio space, of course. It's an unfortunate story.
He's studying macro and...
Right. So a few weeks ago we were discussing the extra physical capabilities of the revolutionary...
It was unbelievable. He said, turnips don't care if they are grown by communists.
Basically, he was rejecting the whole foundation of inframaterialist.
What is this inframaterialist business?
Simply that under suitably revolutionary conditions, crop yields naturally increase relative to
Susanna said that he has been hanging out with some.
For us, the question boiled down to, if you don't even accept the basic ideas of Nielsen and inframaterialist theory, why are you in the reading group? Well, it wasn't so much that
He just quit coming. We haven't seen him around for weeks.
Go ahead.
The young man frowns at the...
Nothing, just messing around until the meeting's...
They're watching those matchboxes awfully. It's almost as though they were trying to create with predictable results.
We typically only accept new members once per semester. There's this whole process with essay, but given that we have some extra seating at the moment...
Stefan,
I am serious. As materialists, we've got to adapt to conditions as they are. Besides, he's assuming he's even still interested, that is.
What's there to be scared of? You've really been... Now, chin up. You've got this.
Oh, you want to start now? Sure, we can...
You've caught him off balance. The momentum is...
Go ahead and take a seat. Since we haven't, why don't you tell us a bit about the books you're interested in? And we'll just see where the conversation goes. Aha, a real old-school pedestrian materialist. Alright, so what sort of practical works are we talking about? Cockatoos. Fascinating. So tell us what you gathered from your...
This is a good start. They're starting to loosen up. You feel relaxed and in control. This is a...
I have to say, I never realized cockatoos could be so apocalyptic. I've only ever seen the grey ones. It makes sense though. Mazovianism stresses the essential continuity between humanity and nature. So
I believe it's man is the...
These kids are eating out of your hand, practically. Another quarter of an hour disappears. Now you can sense things.
don't you think though that you can only really understand current events if you have a firm background in history and political theory? Okay, we'll bite. What sort of stories are we talking about? Oh, we're getting into the psychiatric pathologies of life under capital.
Now you're getting somewhere. These boys aren't even bothering to contain their interest.
I'm just trying to imagine what it would be like to wake up with no concept of...
If you encountered it in a novel, you'd say it sounded like a plot contrivance or like a fantasy.
No, it's just like Mazovro. The freeman of the future will be...
Wait, Steban, are you saying the gendarme is some kind of future communist?
Another quarter of an hour disappears. The conversation bounces back and forth. Now you can sense things starting to slow down. Time to wrap this tale up.
But that would imply that whenever you unpeel time, you leave behind some kind of doppel...
I suppose we'll have to leave it there. But listen, gendarme. We could use someone with your breadth of expertise. With just a little more theory.
Yes, I would...
And with that, welcome to the most ideologically advanced... Here's your first assignment. It's an overview of inframaterialist theory. A little basic, as you'll see, but one has to start somewhere. You're going to fit right in, I think. Come back when you're done. We'll be here pretty... Do be sure to take your time with the reading. We'll be eager to hear your thoughts.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire?
The file cabinet, the drawer, slides. You're back before the cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened since you were last here. If anything, it seems to have grown slightly. The container door appears unmoved by your attempt at flattery. A tough nut to crack for sure, but the strongest containers often have the softest hearts. The door does not respond to your advances. Is it possible that it's... Why does this situation feel so familiar? Do you have a history of propositioning inanimate objects? You're back before the cargo container.
Oh, hey, mister. I knew no trouble at all.
Before the cargo container. It's why are you even trying to open a door with rhetoric? You've got to dance with the one that brought you. As you hold it in your hands, it makes an uncomfortable crunching sound. It's a sordid, filthy tale, not for the weak. Are you sure you can stomach it? Some secrets are better left uncovered. Don't even. It occurs to you that you're not even holding the jacket itself, but rather the thick crust of jetsam. It smells like a dead sea creature, tangled in grey strands of seaweed. It must have spent quite somehow. It was carried or dragged to the boardwalk. If not by human hands, then the faint impressions of many footprints are also present, though it's impossible to tell what kind or how many. Suffice to say, the crust is hard. This jacket spent at least a day baking in the sun. It's too late. You've already thought about it, and now your hands are covered in muck. What? No, then it'll just be on your pants. It's getting cold. The porter reel is, you press the large button marked Commencer, and the tape starts spinning. There's a small delay before this. It sounds like someone's moving in the room, getting comfortable, telling you about the tiniest church in Cessons. Within seconds you know, this is the one, the real shit you've been looking for. The one you trust. A click, then silence for a bit. Then, of course you could sing this. Yup, they're all here. All three and the B-side of the tape contains the instrumental version. It's like the world itself is telling you to do it. Gart, you have to convince Gart to let you sing karaoke in the whirling. After you've won it. Large letters on the front, text underneath, the cover on the inside jacket flap, you find this brief look, TM, introduces readers to one. You turn to the table of contents, known to his numerous during his and yet his most. If you're like most people, you probably believe that's not right at all. Thoughts don't exist in the brain. They float through the air. Your brain, very interesting. And as Mazov's devoted comrade and lead during his final year, but one subject he returned to, we may yet discover, he wrote in his notebooks, that under certainly, in essence, Nielsen is arguing that thoughts don't just reside inside the brain, they radiate outward from it. Woe is right. What's more, unfortunately, Nielsen passed away before he was able to develop. Building on Nielsen's basic insight, these theorists reached a startling correct, though certain particulars of the theory are commonly attributed to the actual theory is highly technical. But that's because this is absolute idiocy, not even worth. No. There's something here. You can feel it. Inframaterialists at the lowest, or first level, revolutionary plasm is believed to take the difference in these yields. Even today, who's to say the farmers aren't just cooking the books? It's also been postulated that plasm may account for the remarkably your hand feels clammy against your bare chin. Of course, in fact, reports from the revolutionary period, 8 hours, there's no way. Your equipment would be mashed to jelly. No wonder the communards couldn't shoot straight. And on that note, you feel like you've got it. The book fits quite. You flip forward a few pages. When a community at this second level, certain hyper-revolutionary individuals may even develop the ability to extend this according to inframaterialist theory. Of course, one doesn't need to be a communist to be a Jew. It's become something of a folk legend that during their final meet, one of the much of what we know of the because plasm has never been direct. In other words, there's no evidence that any of this Why are you getting hung up on mechanisms? Open your mind's aperture just a little. Most inframaterialists would argue that the inability. There you have it, a perfectly unfalsifiable loop. The theory is impossible to disprove, meaning it's hardly a theory. This should be more than enough for a stimulating discussion. You breeze through the next. When a society, more like suggestion, of course, some inframaterialists have even in the SR, but as of this writing, only human beings have There are numerous stories from Samara among known attempts to channel third. It concerns, according to communard law, these acolytes positioned themselves at the top. The communards were notoriously under-equipped. Again, the acolytes, picture the lot of them, all standing with their fingers in the air 1 minute. The next, it's been said, though, that of course, colorful anecdotes, only some have theorized. Did that book just say there's no place for you in this future? Others have argued that people in some of his later writings, Nielsen himself, speculated. Nielsen called it the highest expression on the following. Another depicts something about that tower looks awfully familiar. Could it be that's what the students were trying to recreate with the match in the corner of one of the a state that has lost the faith of its people, has forfeited the right to exist. There is no more. If you'd like to read further, may we recommend a brief look. On the table, you see an old mirror hanging. The bed is comforting. The bed underneath you is soft, if lumpy. Wait.
Like a deftly cast fishing net, sleep pulls you out of the world and into its dark shore. The rough mesh chafes, tightening around you, it digs into your brain.
How have things been going for you out there? Helped anyone like...
This bastard isn't even listening to you.
Because you know you are a murderer. A disco music listening psycho killer who offs poor people. And then forgets about it.
Hear that? You are naive to think he's afraid of his bloodied hand. It's much, much worse than that.
We're trying to help you. All these processes, these tortures, voices and tremors are all just distractions, flares and countermeasures to keep you from the last dream.
The last dream will be total annihilation. Cinders peeling off the fuselage. We won't be there to help you anymore, Harry. We will be dormant. You will be naked and alone.
Of hell. An ancient sadness, brother. 10,000 years later, in front of the video rental, there is a warm breath on your face again. Everything is okay again.
Everything is so okay. Your eyelids flutter open for a moment. When you close them again, you sense the light of the room around you. You're back. In 2 seconds, the alarm will ring.
The last thought in your head before waking is, maybe you shouldn't have seen that stained glass window in the church. mother of humanism stand. Why? That does seem to be, I don't know, only the mother of humanism towers above you.
Yes, what is it?
An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in
From here to the whirling, I can't see how. The church is in the way.
Is there something here that would indicate a sniper used this place as a nest for taking the shot? Just some urban detritus, a bottle, and a dilapidated old comms tower.
I don't see it, Lieutenant W. Freitor. I don't see a person take a shot here and hit something there, in the whirling in rags. It's not possible to climb that ladder, and even if it were, why? There's no platform up there to aim from. To warm his hands before pulling the trigger? Perhaps, but anyone could have made this. The coast is specked with fires this time of year. Truthfully, this seems like a very poor choice to take a 1.2 kilometer rifle shot from. Visibility is awful. There's water vapor everywhere. I think we can rule out biddable prime, was it? Those? A smoking assailant who favors Tumutiri to Astra or Joan? Cigarette butts are everywhere. This is a common brand for all men.
Still, you felt it was important enough to make a mental note. That means something. You didn't pay attention to any of the other cigarette butts on the coast. There, 1.2 kilometers over the cold water of the bay, blue from the distance and a glowing light on the third floor of the whirling in rags. With binoculars, you would see a young woman's shape move behind the glass. Worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune. You rattle the handle a bit, then push on the door with all your weight. It does not budge. But
we don't get in there. Frankly, you're just going to have to accept the fact that you can't get in through every single door.
No. We've gotten into every door thus far. That's what we do. We open doors. We're cops. That's...
Relax. No one's hiding in there. If we can't open it, others can't either. And thus they can't get in.
A metal and plastic contraption bobs up and down amidst the trembling reeds. At first, it just looks like trash, but if you look closer...
That, over there, must be the boy Klaasje told us about. The one she hid her passport in.
You lift the boy out of the water without much effort. It's not tied to anything. The cord's dangling from the bottom. It smells like you would expect it to smell. A concentrated version of the coast. Salt. There's something in there, splashing around. The number 11 has been written on the yellow plastic. It hasn't been in the water for very long, but it's already discolored and slimy with silt.
Simple construction. Very unsafe.
A shot glass's worth of seawater pours out, some algae, and nothing else.
Well, damn. We still got here too late. There's nothing of use here anymore. I have no idea. Or think we do. This is a small loose end, either way. Not important, I hope. Could be. We should keep an eye out.
You could ask the miss what she thinks, later, if you have the time. Though you doubt she'll tell you much at this point.
I have no idea. Or think we do. In my experience, cryptids are generally uninterested in...
You could ask the miss what she thinks.
Hello. Isn't this a fine morning? Sure. What's on your mind? But of course.
You see, a slogan. There's some tear, and no, there's...
A tragedy.
He shakes his head with... scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone while the other watches him do it.
Either she's gonna come.
Why does she care about the waves so much?
What is it with waves and fishermen? We need to be out there with them, fishing, making a living. So I asked them to accommodate me. But until that happens, I can try to assist you the best I can. So, what will it be, officer?
officer. Care to play a game with the lonely old man? Actually, never mind. Wouldn't be the same. The prick is gone. I can barely believe it. But
He is trying to retain his jolly facade, but the underlying sadness casts a deep shadow.
yes, in peace.
Right, 2, 1.
Hola, Wandering Man. How can I...
The unpromising race pupil returns. Babe, see that they stay here the whole time. The woman's gaze follows Measurehead.
So, you guys are like cops or something? Look at him. His craniometric perfection. Are you cops or what? Have you ever thought that maybe things should go to shit? I'm Katya, by the way.
You hear that? That sound?
Yeah, Jean-Luc must be really tearing it up over there. I wish I could see it.
Look at you! RCM rent-a-cops! Guarding that bridge like Everott's lapdogs! Is this where it's at now? The RCM is for sale!
Spoken by a mercenary pretending to be a worker.
A shrill laughter interrupts you, echoing across Martinez. It's the man turns to look behind him at the behemoth appearing around the corner, approaching him, walking past him.
The corpse has been removed from the tree. Stand down and congratulate yourself. You have sided with her, and what you had to do was to become a union man.
The unpromising race pupil returns. Babe, see that they stay here the whole time. The woman's gaze follows Measurehead as he leaves.
So, you guys are like cops or something? Have you ever thought that maybe things should go to shit? I'm Katya, by the way.
You hear that? That sound? He's breaking something.
Yeah, Jean-Luc must be really tearing it up over there. I wish I could see it.
Look at you! RCM rent-a-cops! Guarding that bridge like Everett's lapdogs! Is this where it's at now? The RCM is for sale!
Spoken by a mercenary pretending to be a worker.
A shrill laughter interrupts you, echoing across Martinez. It's Kuno. Then, the man turns to look behind him at the behemoth appearing around the corner, approaching him, walking past him.
The corpse has been removed from the tree. And what you had to do was to become a Union man for all to see.
The corpse lies on the ground among the remains of an absolutely demolished pinewood branch.
Mr. Measurehead has done a good job. Nothing is too broken or compromised. The victim is ready for a field autopsy. Yes. 1. Investigation of the scene. 2. Initial examination of the victim. 3. Field autopsy. 4. Transportation of the body to the morgue. We are on number 3.
The fuck are they on about?
Cop's gonna cut his shit up!
No, you and I are detectives. The honorary rank of detective signifies our ability to handle the entire incident chain, from autopsy to cleanup to social work, everything. An honor and a burden attached to your rank once you've proven yourself able, usually after 5 to 8 years of field work. Mine is Lieutenant Detective. You are. Your station would not have assigned you on this case if you weren't. Now...
The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
Come on, officer. You know what a field autopsy is. You've done 100 of them. Unfortunately, no. They are better than nothing. Tell you what, I perform the anatomical side of things while you will take notes.
You're being handled. If you resist now, he will turn on his heavy-duty authority mode. You will get your chance to dig in later.
That's right.
You knew it because you inspected your ledger. The lieutenant is relieved you know the protocol. Yeah, we got this. We're smart.
Shoot, Looney Rooney. Come back later, Corporal.
The dead man stares in silence as you crack open the ledger. The bright red paper is covered in boxes and lists, describing the condition of his skin and organs in 3 parts. Above those, an 11-field info form needs filling out first. It begins with...
That's you.
The corpse is indifferent to your scribblings, just lies there. The next box says...
KK-58-0803.0815.
KK equals Kim Kitsuragi, 57 equals Precinct 57, followed by his date 0803 and time of arrival 0815 on the scene. He's indexed the case after himself, not you. That's because he doesn't want to bring up the messy question of your initials.
And what would that make the alphanumeric?
HDB 41 0803. Help me out with the time of day, anyone? 11:11. It's meaningful.
Good. Let's go with that.
The lieutenant is quite surprised you managed to come up with an adequate case number.
We've heard the nom de guerre, Lely. It's better than nothing. Write it down. What's next? Date of birth? NA. Roughly 50.
Dry 40. The damage is so extensive, it's better to err on the young side. He nods.
Mondial.
The pudgy mess of curdled meat looks neither mondial nor anything other.
Fucky!
Male.
Pigs can have sex!
Nor does he look male, with his...
We're still going with March 4th, 51. What else? 9. Body identified by is non-applicable. 10.
HDB 41 0803.1111 listens, motionless, with the cargo belt still around his neck. Only one box remains.
I'm not seeing anything yet, but we know there's tampering here. Write down, yes, non-visual, corroborated by witness. See report. Good.
Your central nervous system recognizes this gesture. It's the stations of the breath. Ecclesiastic, religious in nature, a holdout from pre-DeLorean burial rites. It takes him 2 seconds to perform. Somewhere in Jamrock North, a small wood shed behind Rosenkrantz Row, Lieutenant Nick Feuerbach puts his hand to the chest of a small corpse, no larger than a monkey. It's raining outside, light drizzle. There is darkness in the shed. Elsewhere yet, an obese female sits in a wicker chair, her silhouette bull-like against the window. Outside, Grand Coudon. The day is turning dim for Sergeant Mac Dawson. Hand extended, he approaches, to make sure she is dead more than anything else. And so, all across Jamrock, Coal City, GRIH, 42 deceased persons found today, 42 stations of breath.
We should start the post-mortem.
The corpse cannot feel Kim's hand on his chest. It no longer meaningfully interacts with its surroundings. A thicket of boxes and lists on red copier paper tries to answer why.
Clothes. The deceased wears armored boots and white briefs. The make of the briefs is Babrodine, I think. Let's see.
See, it's happening.
Babrodine, yes. Inexpensive. Size M. Color white.
The disappointment is palpable. The red-haired thing was expecting something more lurid.
The rest of the clothes have been removed post-mortem by scavengers in order to get to the victim's ceramic armor. Officers are in search of the missing pieces. Removal of the boots is left for processing.
It would be clever of you to omit the boots altogether, sire. If you are to keep them for yourself, as you ought to, you have deserved them. More patience. After the autopsy, before the body is taken away, there will be a window of opportunity. After the lieutenant has gone to sleep. I hope this has helped you, my liege.
The boot has a serial number. It's E50.100.100. The lines between the plates are in the shape of the alphanumerical. The number is purposefully concealed by the design. Tattoos. The upper torso is covered in a single, continuous tattoo, resembling a map of the night sky. It reaches from the right shoulder to the heart. The ink is blue and white. The assistant has a color photograph of the markings, to be added to the case files as document A1. The photo is taken on the scene, using a Trigat Mini. The deceased has a belt for airlifting cargo around his neck, tied with a hangman's knot. Color, yellow. Length, 3 meters. There is a buckle on the other end. Well-nourished, athletically built, measuring 1.8 meters. Generally consistent with age 42. Preservation is good. Ambient temperature, below freezing. Body hair is light brown. Distribution is consistent with the age. The deceased had male pattern baldness. Hair is combed back, short. Lividity appears consistent with hanging, but is not. The head is congested. Contusions are present on the head and chest, consistent with stones thrown post-mortem. Low velocity.
Fucking low velocity? You think Kuno doesn't know what you're talking about? Velocity was fucking max. Talking shit about Kuno's velocity.
In addition, there are bite marks on the face, scalp, and chest, consistent with predation. Ligature mark. The steel wiring. There's too much of it. We need to remove the belt so we can get to the ligature mark.
You got just the right tool for that. The chain cutters.
Always good to think ahead. Now, we need to cut the belt to see the ligature mark below, carefully, with as much precision as you can.
See, my pig is gonna fuck his head off.
No, he ain't. Your pig's a boring fuck.
The belt is equally tight around the whole circumference of his neck, swelling over the edges like white bread rising from the east. The knot is the weak spot. The chain cutters fit in there. Steady now, like a flower arranger. 2 cuts and it should come loose. After some deliberation, you sink the cutters into the knot tying the belt together. You squeeze the rubber handles together, sweat forming on your brow. Snap! The knot is slashed. Another cut and the belt falls apart like a flower bouquet, revealing the dead man's neck and the dark red ligature mark around it.
The rope rises to a point, leaving a gap in the ligature mark. The suspension point is in the back of the neck. Hemorrhaging is observed on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. The mark is well pronounced, consistent with a drop from 1 or 1.5 meters. That he was dead? Yes. They moved fast. This is a good treatment. Chest is intact. Normal contour. Abdomen is protuberant. Pelvis intact. Genitalia...
No! Let's get up and see!
I fucking knew it!
This is clearly what they've been waiting for, ever since the autopsy began. The lieutenant is trying to make it as boring as possible.
Genitalia is male and unremarkable. No evidence of injury. Not from where I look, no. But you're right. Your hunch was right. He was having sex when he died.
Talking about sex? He's gonna suck him off now. I know it.
Back is symmetrical and intact. Upper and lower extremities are intact, but asymmetrical. There are combat injuries on the right hand, thigh, and hip. In addition, I see smaller, residual scars, too numerous to count, covering about 30% of his skin.
From wounds sustained over 2, maybe more decades, dispersal and accumulation indicates long and active combat duty.
We have a real museum here, of battles, wars. Last item, hands. Hands are clean, no sign of a recent struggle. Not particularly him being dead when they carried him over.
It is very hard to struggle when you're dead. Death is the end of struggle.
Ooh. That's all for the external. Well done. What next? Central nervous system. I have nothing. Do you have anything on this man's central nervous system?
You don't even have a joke.
Musculoskeletal. Purge fluid is coming from the mouth. Not injury related. Eyes and tongue protuberant. Hyoid bone. Let's see.
With his eyes almost closed, the lieutenant puts his hand on the dead man's throat and begins to massage it, gently. A rotting smell erupts from the mouth. Purge fluid runs down his lips, black and viscous. You hear cracks as the lieutenant moves his sharp fingers inside the flesh, like the creaking of an old house at night.
Yeah, jack that fucker off!
The hyoid bone is fractured. The rest of the musculoskeletal system is intact. Unremarkable. Respiratory system. Oral cavity shows no lesions. The victim has received dental implants, possibly after a combat wound. Mouth swollen, hemorrhaging present in mucosa of the lips and mouth.
From here, it looks as though the clown-faced man is screaming. The tendons of his jaw are torn apart. Hyoid ripped from the force of the lieutenant's hands. No scream, no sigh of relief rises from the darkness inside. It's humid there. Sickly sweet air, unlike anything living. You feel like you're about to throw up again, straight in that mouth of his.
Hepatobiliary, NA. Ah, are you a hepatobiliary expert? Neither am I. That's it. Same for toxicology and serology, and unless you have untapped reservoirs of knowledge there. Like a toxicology screening? At this stage, I doubt processing will find anything, even if he was brimming with cocaine. But still, you should add a request. Cardiovascular. The body exhibits heavy lividity. Blood has gathered in the hands, feet, and neck. Hypostasis is visually consistent with the hanging. Gastrointestinal.
This will do.
Digested semi-solid food in stomach. Voila. What's next on the list? Let's see. We have bite marks, contusions on the head and chest, and a ligature mark encircling the neck. You'll need 3 fields. Leave a 4th one too. Head, chest, and scalp bite mark injuries. Predation by birds has caused damage to the body. Odontologist does not need to be consulted. And your opinion, officer? Agreed. Next injury? So, the scalp bleeds from a post-mortem head injury, a stone. The injury does not have the rim of an early inflammatory response. The perpetrator on the scene has confessed to causing it post-mortem.
At maximum velocity, fucko!
has confessed to causing it at maximum velocity.
The lieutenant's admission has caused great gratitude in Kuno. He is silent with it. Coagulated blood sticks to his scalp and chest, where the countless stones have hit the dead man. Beneath the description of injury, 2 boxes.
Right. Next, a dark red abraded ligature mark encircling the neck, with a gap on the nape measuring, let's say, 7 centimeters. The hyoid bone is fractured, the cervical column intact. I see hemorrhaging on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. Depth of the mark, 1 centimeter. No signs of clawing on the neck.
Below the note, 2 customary boxes wait to be ticked. The man's head jerks to the side. The ring around his neck is visible.
That's right. No clawing marks on the neck, no signs of struggle on the wrists. A witness statement from the perpetrators confirms. Wound is post-mortem. Treatment. That's it. Field autopsy done, detective. All that remains is to see if the alleged cause of death, the bullet, is truly lodged in his brain. I'll leave that to you, colleague. Or to processing. I won't force you in there.
Oh yeah, finally. Let's get in there.
Seriously, I can just bag him and drive him to the morgue anytime you tell me to. No need for heroics, unless you want to.
Your arms reach out and your eyes close, as if by their own volition. It's dark all around. You feel cold, slippery flesh, first with your fingertips, then under the palm of your hand. His face, his cheeks, his nose, his fat, swollen lips. Like a spider, your hand crawls over his features. Everything is silent. The oral cavity is cold and moist. A ball-like tongue attaches itself to the base of the mouth, lolling around like a scallop. You're on the right track. The tongue moves freely in the cavity. The mucus of the mouth is slippery, delicate to touch. From the soft meat, teeth are budding. Hard pearls of bone in the gums and in the back of the mouth. Can you feel it? You're so close. Rip his jaws open now. Look in. A vision of black and dark red death, pried open by your naked hands and studded with teeth. Looks like he's laughing. Death fumes rising from the throat, and there, in the back of his mouth, above the bell of the uvula, right in the soft palate. You see a hole, barely visible to the human eye. It is swollen shut, almost vanished. No larger than 0.4 centimeters in radius, the edges appear darkened. An abrasion collar. This is what we're after.
Abrasion collar.
Kuno is silent. A black trickle of liquid runs into his throat from the wound. Your index fits right in there. A tight tunnel of flesh opens up. Tissue damage. Wide enough for 2 fingers. As you push both in, you reach through his mouth, right into his brainstem.
The fuck is happening?
Ah, shit, see?
Yes, that's what this part is called. The basal ganglia feels clumpy. The bullet has torn apart his reptilian complex. Your fingers slide into the remains of his limbic system. There is no resistance. It's gelatinous. The slug-like structures are damaged too. The tearing extends deep into both hemispheres. The ululations of the limbic system have ended. All is quiet. The lieutenant answers with the sound of his pen on paper.
Fucking cavity, see?
Quivering with awe. Your fingers are all the way in now, reaching toward the inside of his skull. The cavity goes further, but the entry wound isn't wide enough for the rest of your hand to follow. Your fingers reach toward his skull. His cerebral cortex feels like jelly, cold jelly. Strange fluid streams down your wrist as you push deeper until you feel it on the tip of your finger. Sharp, serrated material. The edges cut right into your skin. This must be the bullet. You pick the sharp metal bullet between your index and middle finger. With your face twisting from pain and concentration, all you need to do is just... The inside of the head feels cold and smooth, like a glove, sweat dripping down your brow. Careful not to lose the prize between your fingers. With a plop, your hand emerges from the mouth, covered in blood up to the wrist. Between your fingers, a small flower, a blossom made of lead.
Fucking beautiful!
A bullet.
The bullet falls in the bag, leaving a smattering of blood on the plastic. He raises the bag under his eyes and says,
A non-calibre, rifled, some kind of brittle alloy, fractured on impact. No, you deserve it. We can log it later. We need to add an item to the injury list. Injury number 4. Oval entry wound with an abrasion color. Soft palate, back of mouth. High velocity, temporary cavity in brain tissue, small exit wound on the occiput. How does that sound? Opinion, fatal injury. And one last thing. We should amend injury number 3, ligament mark. Treatment. It's obvious the Hardie Boys tampered with it. Yes, we should take a closer look at it. I am certain it has more to tell us.
This little thing could reveal much about the weapon that shot it.
We bag the corpse and carry him to the holding pen of my kinema. I can transport him to processing myself, but I will be gone for the rest of the day. Work on the case, tend to personal matters. Try not to do anything too dangerous. An officer needs backup in a neighborhood like this. I'll leave that choice to you. And one more thing. Great work, detective.
After you bag the corpse, Lieutenant Kitsuragi will leave the party until tomorrow morning. You can do side tasks and even the main case, but it might be more difficult. Plan his exit accordingly.
The bullet is safely sealed away in a plastic bag bearing the RCM stamp. Kim has filled out the label on the bag with the item number, case number, and date and location the bullet was found. Beside his orderly handwriting, the bullet looks especially sad, like a tiny, shriveled head of cauliflower.
What? Well, if I was the bullet, which I'm not, I would say, find the weapon that shot me. If we find who owns it, we will have likely found who used it, possibly to kill our victim. In conclusion, the more we know about this bullet of yours, the better.
The squashed bullet has some sharp edges where the jacket has split open. It feels cold, even through the bag. The jacket of the bullet is made of a yellowish metal. It has blossomed out to reveal a dark grey core. The base of the bullet is close to 5 millimeters in diameter. You can just about make out a few striations near the base of the bullet. Little hairlines, linear. It feels standard. It's quite destroyed. Some of the fragments are still lodged in the wound.
What can you say about the bullet so far? A jacketed bullet. Okay. It would have been shot from a military-grade breech-loading rifle, not from a muzzleloader like those typically found on the streets of Martinez. Even the RCM uses ordinary unjacketed conical bullets. This is strange. Very strange. I like this, officer. Strange means unique. Unique means incriminating. We need to find the gun that shot it.
Something tells you that won't be anytime soon. This'll have to be one of those epic tasks that's open for a while. A rifle, revolutionary period. Your bullet looks to be an old 4.46 millimeter from the surplus left over from the turn of the century. Probably an antique or a retrofitted antique. The 4.46 caliber was widely used with the Belmargrave rifle, a Revacholian manufacturer. The BM dominated the battlefields of the Insulindian theater of the anti-centennial revolution 50 years ago. Incidentally, you have just such a rifle with you, the dusty old thing you found hidden in the basement below the commercial area. It's unusable, sadly. If it were, the bullet would probably fit the chamber. No, but Zeliger, a major firearm manufacturer, ended up with a surplus after the war, so there are still a lot of these old military rifles floating around, usually broken. The quality was appalling. Antiques enthusiasts, guerrilla fighters in distant countries, a few lucky jamrock bangers, you're looking for the same thing you found in that hidden weapons cache, only in working order.
What are you thinking? Bullet? Okay, and? An antique. That makes sense. There can't be many breech-loading rifles floating around in Martinez, or anywhere in Ravachol, really. Sure, there's some arms trafficking, but the laws prohibiting the use of breech loaders we inherited from the monarchy have been effective, from what I've seen. Some new RCM recruits get impatient with their muzzleloaders once they've trained with military-grade weapons, but they realize it's worth it in the end. Imagine if everyone, cops, citizens, had access to firearms that could shoot multiple rounds without pausing to reload. After the first shot, the second, third, and so on come much easier. But back to the investigation. Doesn't seem that likely, but we'll check out all possible leads. Next step, finding the gun itself.
Kuno saw you wield that can. Sweet graffito action, pig. Kuno likes that delinquent shit. Fuck no, art shit. It's not art, it's fucking brutal. Nothing pussy about it. The fuck out of here.
Even the pigs think it's garbage.
Look, bitches, Kuno's gonna wrap it up for you. Talk business or fuck off. Enough about this art shit.
It's not Kuno. It's Kuno S. Kuno S is by far the worst of the two. Kuno has no problem being near you, but the other hides behind the fence, afraid for her life, like she's done something very bad. She came up with that psychopathic scheme of screaming for help before. Kuno just wanted to talk to you about his name. Kuno S was the one who wound him up and directed him. Also, Kuno hasn't stopped talking to you, even enjoys it from time to time. When you talk to the other one, it's like talking to a cornered animal. She only hisses and says murder was the case that they gave her. All in all, Kuno respects madness. You cannot hope to outdo her on that front. You must win yourself a few minutes with him alone. Kuno S is by far the worst of the two. Kuno S, all in all.
Fuck you whispering about?
He's whispering too. He's going with it. But watch what happens.
Fuck you whispering about!
She puts extra stress onto that word, expecting it will make you uncomfortable.
If Kuno wants to whisper, he's gonna fucking whisper, okay? Let's whisper, pig.
This is it. You've got him. But be careful. You can still fuck this up. Don't make Kuno look bad in this.
Crazy? You don't know the half of it. She's not crazy. She's insane. Dangerous. She's smoked a man. She's done people in. Probably even pigs.
Stop talking to him! Kuno, I'm fucking warning you! You're gonna get us into shit!
She understands what you're trying to do.
Yo, see? Did Kuno not tell you? Kuno told you. Kuno talks to whoever he wants. Talk, pig. Kuno's got it under control.
You did it. They're separated. He's even turned his back to her so she can't read his lips.
Kuno means she killed someone. That's right. She's a killer. Like, actually a killer.
His little green eyes are fixed on yours.
Killing is serious shit. Kuno's always serious about the 488. She's probably killed a pig too. I mean, I'm pretty sure she has. Forget Kuno said that. Kuno was just shitting. Kuno was just running his mouth. Kuno's stupid like that.
A cop would be too large for her to overpower, but a determined child of her size can still kill the vulnerable, the elderly, the homeless, or other children. The creature peers at you both from over the fence. There is something searching in her eyes. Fear. Kuno falls silent. He does not look at you when he replies.
Kuno, that's what Kuno is starting to think, yeah?
He usually looks you straight in the eye. A little something just crumbled there.
Kuno wasn't around, and C was with Kuno. Told you this already. Look, Kuno's gonna put you at ease. We didn't do it.
He speaks the truth, my liege.
Yeah, she's psycho. None of that kiddie psycho, cat burning shit. She does the real deal. Yeah. Snuff radio shit. Believe me, pig, you don't want to know.
And he doesn't even want to think about it. This isn't just another boast.
Fuck knows. She says it's the song of her people or some shit. Crazy people. The fucking nakis. I don't know.
Some things are too awful to dwell on. The nakis and runkaris might be some kind of defense mechanism.
Fuck no, she's not my sister. She's just a stray who got in, like a mad dog or some shit. Yeah, she was just there.
What was that, Kuno?
She was in the hallway, dripping wet, by the fucking shoe rack, in the dark.
A shoe cupboard just off to the right? Have you been to this place?
Yeah, that's the place. She was just balled up near the closet, psycho style. Kuno's got no fucking idea. Her hair was all wet. I think she pissed on the floor too. She was there for 3 days, in the corner, every time Kuno went out. I dunno. Someone left the door open. Kuno comes home and she's sleeping under the desk, under a pile of clothes, like a dog. Kuno's dad doesn't give a shit. Doesn't even see her there. Or thinks it's fucking Kuno. Shit's all on Kuno.
Kuno S, two of a kind.
'Cause she fucking looks like Kuno. No one knows her name. Kuno told you this shit was psycho killer. How's Kuno dealing with this? Kuno's dealing with it just fine. He doesn't need you fucking with this, waving your gun, mad dog shit. Kuno remembers what you did there. Kuno's got this shit under control. Listen. See, it's Kuno's go-to. Kuno's protecting her. You fuck with C, you fuck with Kuno. You threaten her, you wave your gun around her one more time. Try to take it away.
This is what it all comes down to. He needs you to take him seriously now.
I'm going to kill you. I'll run when you put the cuffs on her, sneak up on you later, and fuck you up. You understand?
He may not be able to do it, but he will try. Right now, he believes he will.
Alright, now we can do business. Yeah? What do you want? Kuno can hook you up with...
Don't hook him up with shit, Kuno!
See? Relax. He respects the Kuno. Kuno made him respect the Kuno. You respect the Kuno, you get all kinds of shit. Kuno's gonna get you hooked on illegal narcotics if you run a little errand for the Kuno. Get you hooked, pig. Get his... See, it's tension and release with Kuno. Now we releasing. The pan buying shit, that's on now too. 90% discount for Kuno's pig. Kuno can flex. Kuno flexes for hobos. Kuno sees you're in need. Kuno doesn't
I'll die before I squeal, pig. You don't want to fuck with me. I got my hands bloody. I'm not here, pig. You're not seeing this.
You can still see the top of it.
Hey, was there something you needed? No, you don't. It's not happening.
He tries not to look at you. It's dangerous to acknowledge the karaoke man.
By causing more trouble, I think we're good. The Whirling's not a charity or a musical therapy clinic. It's a commercial establishment. You're going to scare away the customers. It's for no one. It's a prop. I'm not letting anyone use it after the great karaoke catastrophe of '44. A lot of people got killed because some arsehole wanted to sing karaoke. Okay, yes, it's for some clients. Ha! Well, we don't have any tapes. They all got stolen.
The man in the vest and the violet shirt stares at the tape you've just given him. He begins to frown.
Fine. Climb on that stage and do your thing. Just get out of my hair. I'll plug...
I'm having it uninstalled, he mumbles to himself. Oh yeah, time to do the damage. The stage is all set up for your performance. Feels silent. You can hear the pellets creak under your feet. You feel a little dizzy, a little unsteady suddenly.
So, are you ready for your thing now? Let me know when I should turn on the karaoke carousel.
I can see that.
Immediately, a loud feedback noise startles the room. You feel like an amateur. How are you supposed to hold the mic? Should you just sing into it? Where should you... Hands. Where do you put your hands? It's still early here. Faint daylight is seeping into the dining hall. All the tape. Someone's making coffee in the kitchen. Yes, you can always do it in the evening. It will be less scary with a lot of people.
Hello, officer. What brings you up here again?
Let's see. I wrote down the nickname Lelystad. We have questions that might help solve some gaps in our field autopsy. I'm sure my colleague has a few of his own while I take notes.
The young woman cranes her neck, trying to catch a glimpse of the page the lieutenant passed to you. On it is a list of autopsy observations recorded neatly in blue ink. The last missing pieces of a puzzle of flesh.
In Oranje, officer. It's, I think municipality is the term. A nowhere town there.
You were almost right, officer. That means his race was occidental, not mondial. I'll update the form.
Yes. We were compatriots.
Did that bring you together?
No. He was too old for that. And from another part of Oranje. I didn't even understand his accent. What brought us together wasn't Oranje. It was bad habits.
No love for Mother Oranje, but wasn't he a soldier? This could be worth pursuing.
No. He left the National Service after they taught him to do what he did on Seminine. He wasn't the flag-waving kind. He was the making money, killing people kind. He was by no means a stupid man. A people person, a small platoon leader, certainly not a patriot. There is nothing on Muindi. The old world is dead, and we both knew it. Maybe Oranje did bring us together, in loathing. I love Revachol, though. I hope she loves me, too. He was 42.
42? Are you sure? I would have had him above 50.
He had many scars that made him appear older. But no. We even celebrated his birthday, like, some weeks ago. It was a funny 2 days. He had little reason to lie to me.
Looks like you were right, officer.
Points are good. Have one, you old dog, before we all die. The young woman looks at you, then the lieutenant, then you. She's clearly sensing something. A spike in testosterone levels, perhaps.
Blue. Light blue. They were like little blue galaxies, you know? It was strange, seeing those eyes in his fucked up face. Pardon the swearing. I do him an injustice. He wasn't ugly. And he had a beautiful, soft voice. Very surprising, what with all the scarring. It was quite something, watching him speak.
He had a combat wound on his chin and mouth?
Yes. Severe. It made him look like half his face was cracking away in some strange smile. That and those eyes.
Ah, yes. His hair, if you can remember?
It was light brown, almost blonde. He darkened it with brilliantine, made it oily. Not nice to stroke. I couldn't convince him to leave it alone. Oh, that.
It's clear she liked it.
Sure, service history. It was mostly for showing off to chicks, though. How? Imagine him lying in bed. Freakish musculature laid out on the sheets. Scarred, of course. Tattooed. The sheets are dirty for some reason. He's smoking and drinking, of course. And his chest and shoulders and arms are studded with stars. Tens, hundreds of them. Maybe even thousands. And the woman goes like, "What was this, baby?" And he says, "That was too hardcore. Don't ask me about that." So she goes, "Okay, but what's this, baby?" And he's like, "Saw some bat shit there. Killed some loincloths." And so it goes. Star after star. Port after port. Third world country after third world country. And he's done horrible things in every single one of them. Oh, yeah. No, thank you. I've seen enough of him dead. I can tell you what they meant without looking at them.
Go on.
He was a blue-eyed boy with thick arms, from a small town. He was also poor, and the government of Oranje needed some people killed, so they turned him into a grotesque killer. For money. He went to Killer Academy in Vredefort. Then he killed some people in the Semenine Islands. And on other islands, too. All of the islands. After this, he came to Revachol and got killed himself. Change of topic, perhaps? A real rainbow splattering of pharmaceuticals, I bet. Barbiturates, amphetamine, sildenafil. How much does the toxicology report cost the police of Revachol? I can do it for half of that. Save you some money, make some myself.
It's quite expensive, miss, but we'll manage without your help for now. All right.
Coolly, gracefully, she pours herself more coffee.
Oh.
Did you take the documents?
No, of course not. As I said, it would have been too risky for me to use those documents anyway. My employer gave them to me. Yes, I am. Regardless of who took the documents. It was probably just an accident. I was worried I'd been too careless with the latch. The documents were probably just washed away. Lies.
Yes, we demand she be punished for deceiving us. We demand her anxiety. She nods, then nervously pulls on her.
Okay.
She slowly light. Wait, stop. That man, bloated beyond all recognition, was 42? Below the damage, the weeks of decomposition, all the swollen indignity of mortality, he was 42 years old? How old are you? That's where this is going. 45,000 liters of raw alcohol has left its disfigurements. What lies beneath, you wonder? You could ask either one of them.
Huh? How old? 58? You asked. Actually, make that 54. Alcoholism has severely impacted your appearance, and I was wrong about the age of the deceased.
Wait, this requires scientific measurements. To the laboratorium.
It's you again. What is it? Why? Sounds like you want to push this steaming pile of shit on anyone. And now you pick Ruby. Well, not on my watch you won't. Ruby's one of us. We're not gonna throw her under your moral intern steamroller. Fuck that shit.
And fuck you too, moral
Ruby is missing. If you hide from the police in a murder investigation, you become a suspect. You know how it works, guys.
That's nothing. That's just legalese. You don't even have a sound theory. I don't want to be rude, but we're trying to get some R&R here. Think you could fuck off now?
I think we'll keep sticking around, Titus. You'll be surprised at how quickly a theory presents itself if you keep looking.
A sudden flash of lightning in your neocortex. The hostel cafeteria is lit by its airy blaze. Floor plans, bullet trajectories, webs of human emotion, all channeled into a single thought.
Because she was here, all night, with us.
He's cobbling together shit so he can put her away. It's Cop 101.
She was here all night? 11:30 to 12:15? She was here during all that time?
Yeah, with us, drinking, near the stage there.
No. All right, she took a fucking leak, okay? For one moment. Maybe went out too. She has an operation to run from her lorry. We're not getting into what that operation is again, Cop.
That's probably for the best. Don't break your stride now.
And just 'cause she was gone for 5 minutes doesn't mean she magically got to the roof and shot him. I've been through this. It's not plausible.
All right, we're in. We got Ruby unaccounted for sometime during the window. This was crucial. Now let's place her on that roof. You got his attention. Now don't ruin it by making weird claims. Remember, you can still mess this up.
Oh. People say there was a pinball arcade here, sometime before the hostel. What was it called, Theo?
East Delta Pinball Arcade. Weird place. Went bankrupt.
Okay, but how'd you get up? There's no room for a staircase in this building. Or an elevator, for that matter.
The elevator is outside the building. It's an old dumbwaiter used for moving pinball machines up and down from the workshop. Ruby could have gone up, shot him, come down, all under 7 minutes.
That's quite the theory. We need to have a look at that secret passage, boys.
I'm on it, boss. Right when the law clears, me and Angus are going up there.
It's a dumbwaiter, not an industrial lift. How about I go instead of...
Just now. You got something else to back this route up? Or is that it? Footprints. Recent. .43 is pretty large for a girl, don't you think? But then Ruby's what you call a butch girl. She's no daffodil.
Yeah, but that's what's so cool about her. It's why we've been thinking...
I know what you've been thinking, Glenn. We'll talk about it. Once the murder charges have been cleared.
Titus, you're not really saying...
He's thinking, all right. Glenn gets silence for an answer. Push forward with this theory.
I don't like guessing, Cole. No one does.
It opens the steel door in the kitchen, the one that leads upstairs to the roof. This key was right here, with you, all the time.
Quit jumping to conclusions, Theo.
Now, the ribbon was old, faded. It had been there for 20 years at least.
Why? This doesn't make sense. It's damn interesting, but it doesn't fit well, and you know it.
It doesn't fit well, but it fits, and he knows it.
Firmly doesn't go well with could've. There's a route to the roof. Me and the boys need to check it out. That's what we've established. But a route does not put that bullet in his head. A gun does that, and Ruby doesn't carry one.
Phase 2, murder weapon. Get a gun in her hand. If not that, then at least a shadow of a doubt, in the shape of a gun.
God damn, that's just about your favorite topic, isn't it? Every fucking 5 seconds.
You were warned not to bring it up. Your best shot here is to just back out of it.
Okay, cop. She's got connections. I could see how she could have access to a gun. That still doesn't mean she did.
That's all you needed. Doubt.
All right, cop. Keep talking. I'll tell you when I've had enough.
Pete, we're not seriously considering it, are we? Ruby wouldn't do this. Why would she do something like this?
Phase 3. Motive. The last component. The big one. Get this and they'll give her to you. Remember, don't piss him off. That never works.
Yeah. Like what?
The big man falls absolutely silent.
Yeah, but they're both girls.
Girls like girls too, Angus, sometimes. This is one of those times. She liked Klaasje.
Fuck you. First he says she's murdered him. Now she's a too? It's a lie.
Come on, Glenn. She likes Monica's titties more than you do. Everyone knows which way the wind blows there.
I did. I knew it. That's why she didn't fuck me at Fatty's birthday party.
She didn't fuck you, 'cause you're 40, and you still live with your mom, Dennis.
Ruby then threatened her and told her to end her relationship with the deceased.
This is some sordid shit. It's also the kind of garbage our Miss Aronier puts out to cover her own ass. That Ruby is queer as cabaret, now that I start thinking about it. I don't know why I didn't see it earlier. And that's okay. Some are queerer than others. You can still be a Hardie. But if you bring your own personal shit into our outfit...
If that's the case, then it's not right. But it's not the case, right?
There are many pieces that fit together that way, Eugene. Face it.
You had expressed, on occasion, your dislike of the mercenaries' presence in Martinez, right?
Whack someone in my district? That doesn't carry much favor with Titus Hardie. She has to know that.
Nah, man. That's just Ruby. She's got shit under control. That's her whole thing. That's why she's so good.
Plus, man, it's like female intuition, you know. Women talk to women. Which is sort of why we need someone on the team who they talk to.
Not so useful.
Fucking hell.
And I suppose you have a theory about that too, cop.
Think about it. Why go through all that effort? It was her idea, wasn't it? The hanging. You went along, but she suggested it.
She had, like, a fully formed plan and shit. Right when she came back downstairs.
Really, Shanks? Klaasje wanted to talk to another girl, that's all. She was just the first one up there. I could have come up with that plan if I'd have been first.
Time for a logics demonstration. He scoffs.
Think. You kill him. Get up there. Shoot him. Get down.
The man is silent.
If she used us to cover her own shit up, well, that's a serious violation of the Hardie Code, boss.
Which is why she didn't. This is fucking stupid, Titus. This and the queer thing, all of it. Why aren't more of you defending her? This is fucking stupid, Titus.
Glenn, I thought the same thing when she skipped town and left us in this shit.
Oh, so he didn't rule her out completely. And she skipped town. This silence. He looks around the room. The old man in the corner nods. A very small nod. And a trickle of tobacco spit on his lip. This is the only option he cares for.
Yeah, I see it. There's one more thing I've been wondering about. Ever since you asked me where she is. Add it to your list of suspicions, if you want. I don't know where she went. She just got up and left. Got real scared, too. Wouldn't tell me where. However hard I asked. Want to know why? She was afraid I would tell you. Maybe she was right. By now, I probably would.
She knew there's evidence on her, and she knew we'd find it. This is typical suspect behavior, why fleeing is always incriminatory.
Perhaps. Ask her if you find her. It won't be easy, though. She made sure of that. Friday afternoon, when you first arrived, I got word the RCM was in town. Then she came in to see me. Told me she was leaving. That's when we had our little conversation. I told you. You. No, you. As in the cop with the sideburns and the disco clothes. Sure. Normal. You know, when I first saw you limping here, I thought she was paranoid or sniffing her own supply. But now I'm not so sure. She said you have a funny taste in clothes and that you won't stop until you have something on her. She said she's heard of you from Jamrock, that you're a human can opener, that you play suspects against each other, open them up like cans.
And then when they're all empty, just move on to the next can. Don't look back unless there was something you missed.
Fucking hell. Titus, did he just...
Open Angus up like a can? Yes, he did. Now, we can whine about it, whack him, or we can go on with our lives. I'm having a go on with our lives kind of day, Al.
It's not an actual question. Silence. He nods.
You are insistent.
Yeah, there was something else. She wouldn't tell me, though. I could see she wanted to. It was burning on her lips. This cop, Titus, this cop, But
scared. You should be, too. A strange fear creeps over you. A metallic taste in your mouth.
She's not far. We know that much. She didn't take her lorry, so she's on foot.
Good fucking luck, man. She knows.
Yeah, Al. And we won't either.
She's not really a Hardie candidate anymore, is she?
She's not, Glenn. A little. On the coast.
Where have you looked for her, more precisely?
More precisely, on the coast, past the waterlog. She's not here, so I'm thinking she's sure. There's some shithouses there, a cinderblock town. The fisherfolk there refuse to unionize, so that's one place we haven't looked. I hear they have a shack where junkies sometimes crash. Time for you to step up.
We will start there. One more question. What does Ruby look like?
Boyish. Hair's red. Dyed. She looks like a Lowry man. The what now? I have no idea. Boys?
She said she's building a pale emitter.
What?
We were talking about radio equipment. She said she's doing Ulan frequencies and a pale something. I don't know more.
This guy barely understands what he's talking about.
There you have it. Pale something. It'll have to.
His grip is firm and reassuring, like holding a piece of unpolished granite. Not just granite, tightly packed RCM Sergeant material.
When are you gonna get it through your dumb head? I already am. I just wasn't sure you were.
And he still isn't. People aren't afraid of good cops in the way Ruby was afraid of you, he thinks, then turns back to his men. Jamais vu, derealization. Jamais vu, the opposite of déjà vu. Not already seen, but never seen. Everything that should be familiar appears strange and new, like some half-forgotten day in your childhood. Only now. That's the feeling you've been having. And for who knows how long. You should go and ask Joyce Messier about this. What world are we in? This is a fundamental question.
Hi again, gendarme. Bye-bye, gendarme. Hi again, gendarme.
It's the sports. He's a sports guy, all about that physical.
Bye-bye, gendarme.
Again? I can't believe...
Yes? What is it? It means I'm a patrol officer, sir.
You think you have a pretty hot suspect right now, don't you? Notice how it came together without casting too much suspicion on Klaasje. It was nice and Ruby-centric in the end. Anything strike you a bit off about this mishmash? Absolutely. It could have come from anywhere, but you're suddenly so certain it came from the roof behind the window. Good point. It is rather rare these days, but do continue. True. Strange how you conducted the whole advanced ballistics analysis and then hand-waved it. No, they didn't. Notice how this hasn't come up at all. Even Hardie and his boys didn't mention it. Neither did you. That's right. Finish thought. Just finish it and conveniently go on. She's watching you leave right now, you know that. Free as a bird on that roof, lighting up a cigarette and thinking, am I glad Ruby's in this shit and not me? Don't listen to this guy. The theory was solid. He's just jealous. Move on. It's no use harassing her further.
Yes, what is it? What? No, no one's suspicious around here.
She has not seen her, sire. The mother of humanism stands above you. The mother of humanism stands above you. A jigsaw of broken shards falls into place in front of you. A ghostly reconstruction of the stained glass window. Before it was shattered, there was an older woman beneath the younger one. And a text, a leitmotif below them both. Unknown. Something during the raid the lieutenant mentioned, or just hooligans looking for something to break. The escutcheon on her throne says, Irene the Navigator. She is depicted as an older woman wearing thick-rimmed eyeglasses, holding a golden Reichsapfel in one hand and a scepter in the other. This is the queen her innocence day advised. Above, she herself is whole. Small figures of wise men, common men, worshippers walk up the stairs to stand at her feet. Secret servicemen, 30 years, stand in a row guarding her. It must have taken years to produce this work in all its dizzying detail. And then, along the left side, après le monde, la gré. Après le gré, le monde de nouveau.
Death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This exaltation is common in Dolorian sacralism. In the early years, it was even incorporated as the RCM slogan. No more, however. It was deemed subservient to use a strongly moral intern-related motto. We already suspected of bootlicking. The sentence was also seen as too feminine. It was a macho thing. Justice, union, prudence, and force. So do I.
The mother of humanism towers above you, a wax painting on a cracked pane of glass. Nothing has changed in her expression. Why? That does seem to be a problem. I don't know. What are we thinking of? Part of you only a strange... The mother of human... Why? That does... The mother of human...